Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the season finale of Killjoys. A great season finale, lots to talk about, so let's break everything down bit by bit. What I really appreciated about this episode, too, is we learned a lot more about the lady. We learned more about her species, and the fact is that she's the last. Because her species is like, oh, we spread across all of space looking to devour and conquer, but she's the only one left. Because her species doesn't have what humans have. Humans have memories, which they do too, but for them more their memories are based on instinct of how to survive. It's animalistic instinct. They don't have the memories needed to make connections, and that's what this is all about for her. Because it turns out the green isn't what make Holland. Holland are born from the lady. She created them. They're just kind of a means to an end, which is kind of interesting. But also, because, Aniela in Dutch's body, which I love just that weirdness to it and stuff like that, because Johnny's like, yeah, I can't forget the eyes of the lady that stabbed me. And Aniela's like, well, look at you. You look great. So, and then and she's like, oh, look, that's Pre, the bartender, right? And they're just and Johnny and Dab try to keep everyone from finding out about it. Turin ended up seeing through it because he was like, yeah, I don't know if I like bitchy Dutch better than nice Dutch or not. Because, it was just kind of weird, her being all nice and everything. Obviously, Zeph still had a problem with Dutch, but then the situation became what it did. It's it's a standoff. Guns are pointed everywhere. It's oh, we're going to put Aniela down after everything she's done. But then, Dab and Johnny have guns on Turin because it's if he kills Aniela, that means he's killing Dutch because that's still Dutch's body. And then, you have that back and forth between Aniela and Zeph kind of talking science and stuff like that. And it's really? You're having this conversation while there are guns pointed everywhere? But getting back to what I thought was kind of fascinating is what Aniela said. Because green is basically a transdimensional pool of the universe's universal memory. That's what it is. It's not like some evil entity in itself. It's only evil because the lady is in there. Because she spawned Holland from it and stuff like that. But naturally, it's like a gigantic universal library where all this information and memory is stored. And once it's there, there's no memory that can't be forgotten or erased, which is that's kind of incredible. Because for such a long time, you think the green is just this evil thing. It's only evil because the lady's in there. And that's what this is all about. The reason why the lady needs Aniela to get out, because she doesn't have a body anymore. She's not just trapped in the green in a sense, because I was under the impression it's she's in a body and she's trapped in there like everyone else. Like Aniela being in the green is because her body and actual stuff is actually in there, but it's no, she's like everything else in the green. She's nothing more than a memory. That's why she needs Aniela to do what she did to Dutch and bring her out of the green. She needs a physical body to be brought out of the green. So that's what this is all about. She's trying to get to Aniela by offering her family. At first I was it's no, my dad's dead. But then it's oh yeah, she would know about your mom, because it took a while. It wasn't until she transformed into her mom. I was right, because Dutch met their mom. So she has that memory, but it's not her she's after, because she ended up learning from Davin and Johnny about her having a son, but she didn't want any pictures because she knew the moment they would enter the green, everything that's them will be used against them, because a lady would have access to it, especially because Dutch is in there. Dutch pretty much knows all there is about Davin and Johnny and knows what she knows, so she'd be able to use it. In Davin's case, it's back in season 1 when he attacked Dutch, when he was kind of lost control and attacked her. That was his memory, and for Johnny it was Potter, And for him, it's such a heartbreaking thing because he was able to save her this time. But even then, he knew, no, I didn't save you. I couldn't save you. You're not real. But she's this is a memory. Here, everything could be fine. You could be here. What is real? Because I also Aniela trying to explain the green. They were well, explain it then. She's you see this bottle? And she shatters a beaker. And it's yes, it's broken and gone, but you can still in your mind see it in its original state, can't you? Can't you? And they're yes, we can see it because you're holding it. Geez, crazy lady. Their response and stuff like that. I really loved it. Like I said, I like it. I wish we could have gotten even more of it, but the fact is we got that tiny bit. I really appreciate the time between Aniela and the boys. I really like that. But it's sad, it's a little heartwarming yet a little sad, got to see Potter again, but it's just kind of under those circumstances. And Johnny being when Dav and Dutch found him. They're like, come on, buddy. And they're walking away. She's like, Johnny, please don't leave me. And he's telling Dav, he's like, Dav, don't let me turn around, okay? And I was like, oh, that sucks, dude. Because it's like, oh, you don't have to be lonely anymore. Because Johnny puts on a strong face, but legitimately, we brought, I think wasn't it the last episode he brought that up about the whole, he was talking to Lucy about the fact of being sad. Because, you know, when it comes to like Dav and Dutch have each other, and when the time comes, it's like, who will he have? And it's like, well, he'll have Lucy potentially, you know? So it's sad that, you know, but yeah, it's so interesting. Because we don't know what the lady's plan is when she gets out. Because once again, she said it, like the Holland are just a means to an end. So I'm assuming like, because I was thinking like, I think the general thought was like, oh, when she comes out, she's going to Hollandize everyone. Turns out that might not be the case. They were just a means to an end to get her to where she is now that she's free. Because for one, we don't know what she looks like. I'm assuming she's like some kind of parasite type of creature. Like, she talks about her race, so it's like, it's not like she's human, so it's probably like she comes from a long line of parasitic like entities or something like that. That's what I'm thinking about, or some alien species, whatever the case may be. It's interesting. We probably will never get to see what she looked like originally, because that was something I was really curious about. When she comes out green, would she potentially look like her? What would she look like? But besides all that, I think it's kind of interesting. I'm thinking her plan is to repopulate her race, because what does she say when it's all said and done? She wants a species of her own, and I think that's why she wants Jack, because being as powerful as Aniela is, Aniela probably isn't as powerful as Jack, because Jack has a combination of what Aniela is plus what was done to Davin. It put like he has some kind of connection to the world because he can kind of foresee the future and stuff. So I think given his power, Jack working with the lady could probably shape the universe into what she wants and needs. So that could be potentially what it is. Like, she's trying to repopulate her species and needs Jack to do it. Because I was thinking like, is she supposed to be like doing the whole Jack is a her host type of thing, but that seems like that might not be the case. There's also like that vision that Dutch had about Johnny too, you know, so where does that fall in all of that as well? That might still be potentially something we see. Because all while this is happening in the green, there's also the situation on Westerley where everyone's memories are being messed with because everyone's catching this fever and Zeph is trying to stop it. And I like that moment between Pri and Zeph about the whole, for her, it's like she wants to test on herself, but Pri's like, oh, that's short-sighted, cowardly, because we need a doctor. And if anything happens to you, me, I'm a bartender, I'm expendable, but you are a doctor and a scientist, and you could be helpful. Like, you being around long enough to help other people is what's more important. But Zeph's kind of got like a death wish because of the whole Pip thing. It's kind of brought her down. And, you know, he's like, you know, because she's like, you know, cowardly is, you know, letting someone do something that you know that they know will, you know, get them killed. But then, you know, Pri was like, no, that's not cowardly. That's making a hard choice so that no one else has to. Because if Dutch didn't make that choice, it would have been up to someone else to do that. And no, like, and besides, it's what Pip wanted to do to make sure that everyone survived. And she's like, how do I get over this? And Pri is like, honey, you're not supposed to. This isn't something you're supposed to just get over or let go of. All you can do is move forward, because all that's behind you are shadows. And I thought that was kind of nice, because it's like, it's not meant to just like, you're not supposed to forget everything that happened. Don't forget Pip. Don't ever do that. But don't let the past hold you back. You still have a life in front of you have to move forward towards. So they tried the cure. And I was wondering if the cure was what ended up making everyone lose their memories. Well, I'll get to that in a second, because we got the Crash, the 9 coming into this, but the 9 are like, oh, we'll wipe out Westerley. Just that way we don't have to worry about any disease or anything spreading anywhere else. I'm surprised Turin didn't throw it in his face. It's like, really, dude? Are we forgetting the fact is that this all started? The whole problem with the Holland in the first place. Yes, it started with the lady, but the Holland finding their way to the quad, that was because of you idiots. You're the one made the 9 made that deal long time ago. So it's your fault that things kind of ended up the way they did. So there's that. But, and also Turin was left a spore, because I like that. And I love Zeph having that line of like, you guys all seriously need therapy, because all the back and forth, because like, they don't trust Aniela, so Dav left it to the person he trusts, and that was Turin, because he knows Turin would have the heart to do what no one else would be able to do. Like, that was the whole thing. Like, even if we don't make it out, use the spore if need be. So, and also, it's really an interesting thing too, kind of going back to the green, how Johnny explained it. I thought was kind of a fascinating thing. And I thought it was like so neat, kind of going back to how the green operates. Like it's like, oh, we went from the ship to the woods, went to the bar, back to the woods. So how are we here again? It's like, well, it makes sense because the green is like a pool of memory, and that's how memories happen. Like one memory will get you, you'll think about one thing, which will kind of set you off on thinking about other things. And I'm like, that's so true. That's so good tying that together like that. That's why like you're able to jump from one location to another. But what I thought was kind of fascinating is the woods themselves, because Dutch was like, this is where the lady feels the strongest, the most powerful. So that those woods have whatever they are, they must exist somewhere in the real world outside of the green that she has some ties to. Maybe that's connected to where she's from, you know? Because she has memories, sure, of locations. That's probably the only one we've seen. There's also that place that she would stand up at. Like, it's like, because Johnny was like, oh, what is this place? And Dutch was like, oh, some rundown place. Those might be places that are important to the lady. She has memories. She just doesn't have the connection because, for one, she's the last of her species and she's kind of been on her own for such a long time, so... Like I said, cause we don't know how long, like, she predates a lot of stuff, you know? We don't know exactly, like, how old she is. We just know that she's been around a very, very long time. But like I said, luckily, when it was all said and done to the Westerley situation, they were able to make a cure. So it's like, hey, the 9 don't have to nuke Westerley. And because they were too keen about doing that, because it's like, oh, all of those people in Westerley can be... it could all be reproduced later on. We can find other people. Because turns out to be like, well, you need them, your labor, you know those people. It's like, oh, we'll find someone else. As long as Crash survives, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you high and mighty jackasses. You've done nothing. You've done a little funding here and there for the war, like back in season 3, but you've kept your nose out of this. You've been as far away from this situation. You've let other people handle it, rather than stepping up and fixing a situation that you caused in the first place. You let the Howling get their feet into this world, which means inadvertently you led to the ultimate danger that's coming to the quad lady, you know? So, but it is what it is, I guess. But I was wondering if it was Zeph's cure that did it, but it seems like the whole point of the sickness was to remove people's memories, which I think is interesting because it ties into what happens when it's all said and done. Aniela obviously betraying the lady. It's like, no, I'm not here to let you out. And then, everyone ends up escaping because the boundary between the green and the outside world is crumbling. Secretly, sadly, the lady escapes while Aniela was left behind. Though I'm thinking Aniela might not be done yet. Like, the green we see is destroyed, but Klein was there. So, but the thing is, the green is a memory source that can never be forgotten. So even if it's going on some level, it's not completely forgotten, is the point. So it's going to be interesting to see going forward whether anything comes from that or not. Because I get the fact is that Klein was there for her in the end. I doubt this is the end for Aniela, because it would suck no matter what she's done. Like, she still has Delcea, and she has her son out there waiting for her too, so I'm thinking Klein probably hid her in some reserves in the green. It's just like some faint memory of her exists in the green, and all they have to do is get access to it, and they can bring her out. But to be fair, there's no green potentially left, so there's that whole thing too. So it's like, how do you handle that situation? Not less, because remember, there's that source of green that's in a place that Aniela's and Dutch's mom is at. Maybe that might be untouched by what the lady did, so meaning that Aniela could be pulled from that, or maybe she does come from that. Maybe her and Klein come from that, and the whole family kind of gets reunited. Potentially that could be something we see. Maybe not. We'd have to wait and see. But for now, it seems like Aniela might be gone, which sucks. Could really use her in this fight. But the lady ends up getting out. It seems like everyone was losing their memory. In particular, it seemed like those who were sick. Because I thought it was kind of interesting, Garrett wasn't sick. They were interrogating him and stuff like that. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I'm such a big idiot. Because I was wondering, like, well, we never found out what happened to Garrett. Yes, we did. Oh my God, this show is so smart. Garrett was the test subject. Remember, Garrett was like, oh, I've only been like here 15 minutes. Like, you've been gone for like, wasn't it like a week or something? He's like, where did all that time go? They were testing it out. From the very beginning, they were testing it out. That's what this was. And it gave them time to like put it in the disease, the virus in the kids so that when they're around people, it spreads. So it seems like this disease would have eventually gone away. It burns you up a little bit because that's it slowly eating away at your memory. And then when you come back, you're like, oh, who am I? What's going on here? So it was already meant to do that. The reason why Garrett wasn't infected, because he was probably immune to it because he was already infected before. He was a test subject, so he probably built up an immunity to it to a certain degree. Or maybe it got him anyway, because it eventually got Zeph, and she was like, what was I talking about? What's going on here? So it's like, dude, that's so good. Because I was wondering, like, we never found out what happened to Garrett. It's like, yeah, we did. And it's like, that's so good. So what it seems like when it's ending is that basically the lady has warped all of everything. And I like that line. It's like, we are all made up of memories. Our memories aren't just about where we've been. They are who we are. And once she gets control of your memories, that's when it's all over. She ate up a lot of people's memories. So when that disease happened, probably when she left the green, that might be the trick too. The green didn't get destroyed. She probably absorbed it all when she went in, meaning she has the memory of everything and everyone, because those infected, their memories probably got fed into the green last minute, and with all those memories inside, she has access to everything and everything that makes up everyone. So I think that's more so it. The green probably lives inside of her now. That's potentially what I'm thinking, and that'd be kind of interesting. And basically realities be rewritten because we see Dutch isn't a Killjoy, no, it's Johnny, which they're kind of a thing, which is interesting because someone have been like, oh, I feel like they're trying to set up Johnny and Dutch to be a thing, which I guess in this reality they're making that thing, because basically what she's doing is she broke the connection between the characters so that they don't know who they are. They're like, they kind of live this made up life because she has their memories and she can warp who they were, so she's keeping them separated. They're kind of all in the same place. They're all on Westerley, sure, but they're living different lives. They've never met each other. Like, I guess Johnny and Davin aren't brothers at all. Like, their entire history has been rewritten. Dav is a Killjoy, and we see he's looking for Jack because the lady needs him to find Jack. Because remember, even they don't remember where Jack is, because even though she has access to all the memories, that doesn't count for the memories that were removed from her head, which we don't know where those memories are. So Dulcea and Jack are somewhere, and because obviously we see that it reached further than just, it seems like it might be immediately affecting Westerly because Turin's there, but Turin was on the Armada ship, so he wasn't on Westerly at that time. So I would assume that means even the 9 are being affected. I wonder, because Dulcea is someone with Jack, so maybe Jack will be immunity for Dulcea in this situation. I don't know. But I'm so interested to see what they end up doing with that, like this rewritten history, especially if things get settled. When it's all said and done, it's going to make things weird because there's like Johnny and Dutch had this relationship, and it's weird because Johnny and Dutch have that relationship that's kind of beyond being like their family, and they'd never be a couple, but that would probably make things weird between her, Davin, and Johnny, because it's like her and Johnny will probably remember the lives they led in this life. So, but that's so interesting. And we see that little girl at the end. So either the lady was reborn as a kid, or she's able to, because remember all those kids that weren't infected, maybe she's jumping from body to body, or at the very least it's meant to represent the fact is that she's watching them. Like she has access to all these different people she can jump from body to body. But we do see other people. We see Garrett, we see Turin. What's interesting, though, is the people we see are the people whose memories weren't affected. That's at least what we've seen so far. We haven't seen Pri or Zeph. We don't know about the people who lost their memories. Like, they might be somewhere else representing something else, you know? So I'm so curious to see what they do with this going forward. If I'm not mistaken, this is coming back for a 5th season, because I think I remember it being like, yeah, this show was renewed for a 4th and a 5th and final season. So the next season will be the final season. Just check to make sure, and it is 100% right. It is coming back for a 5th and final season, which I'm so excited to see how they end up wrapping this all up. Like, obviously, things didn't play out the way I kind of thought they would. You kind of had a feeling like it was going to end all be all with the lady, but I'm so interested to dive even more. Maybe, we'll learn even more about the lady, try to find out what her ultimate plans is, which I still say it's like trying to repopulate her race, but because she did say in her own twisted way, she's trying to make a family of her own. So I'm interested to see how Team Awesome gets out of this whole situation. It's like, how do you fight something this powerful that can literally shape memories, that has so much control like this? How do you fight that? Like, what other things does she have planned going forward? I'm very excited to see what they do with the final season. But But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.